It is a real honor and a challenge to be the first of a 3-day series. We have a responsibility to set the tone for this event and to begin an ongoing conversation, because obviously today we're going to be talking about talent management, but the conversation will be ongoing, on what the big questions we are facing might be. Because as you've no doubt understood, and as Alain has made clear, our credo is to be unconventional. We like to be constructively disobedient and challenge, not just the status quo, because the goal isn't to be contrarian just for the sake of being contrarian, but to challenge the underlying paradigms, because it is these paradigms that often blind us to what may be sitting right under our noses, but we are just not cabled, not able to see it. As such, over the next 3 days, we hope to generate far more questions than answers. Because in today's world, too, we have the profound conviction that neat, prepackaged solutions, theories, models, are probably not what will be needed to steer us into the future. We believe that the truth, the answers, or the partial answers, will be more complex, more unexpected, and more experiential. So that's where we're going to be trying to go with you today, and we wish to embark you on a journey to find these big questions of tomorrow. And in fact, we started this whole process with one question. Well, what subject should we talk about first? We're going to be talking about innovation, circular economy, talent management, sustainable management. Well, we have 3 days. What do we start with? Well, in this context, to give you our reasoning, we thought that talent management, the human factor, would be key. And it would be the foundation for the rest. Because after all, it is the human factor that somehow transforms a mass of neurons and electrical signals into consciousness, the brain. It is the human factor that turns technologies and all the potential that different technologies offer into disruptive innovation with an impact on society and on organizations. Whether that impact be positive or negative, by the way. It is the human factor that turns organizations into effective tools of cooperation, engagement, and potentially, although as we will see today rather rarely, fulfillment, as Daniel Pink explores in his famous TED Talk, which I'm sure you've all seen, about the puzzle of motivation. Of course, the importance of human resources is touted in all corporate literature. I don't think there is a single brochure on corporate literature that doesn't say humans first. They're our most essential asset. The reality is that some of these claims about being human-centered or employee-focused are maybe a little bit exaggerated when you confront them to the reality of what actually happens in day-to-day operations. But for us as a business school, these cannot be just words. The human factor is our very raison d'être. And our existence depends on our capacity to accompany our participants on a personal journey and a professional development journey of transformation. We shall explore today that the future is a journey of self-discovery we must all embark on, I believe, as individuals, as organizations, and most likely as society. So to kick off the series with talent management seemed to make perfect sense. And to accompany us along the journey today, we have a really exciting lineup from a wide range of speakers from a wide range of sectors. People with experience from the oil and gas sector, from banking, from construction, automotive, education, aerospace, among others. Also different perspectives. We have CEOs, we have engineers, we have journalists, we have startups that are going to be bringing their peculiar view to things. From all over the globe, and with a feedback and experience from all over the globe. We're not going to be Europe-centric or France-centric. We're going to be talking of South Korea, Canada, India, North Africa, just to name a few. And finally, rather than choosing one subject, we wanted to have a wide, once again, range of potential questions. So we are going to be talking about subjects ranging from HR, of course, digital, and how digital is affecting HR, leadership, new organizational models, managing time, managing talent, creating new talent. In other words, true to our calling, to question the very foundations of existing prisms, we will look at the questions of the future of talent management through different, sometimes conflicting, and that is good, perspectives and points of view. The diversity of these points of view are not just functional, social, or cultural. And Gaëlle will tell us a little bit more about that. But what we hope to find here is also cognitive diversity. She'll tell us more about that and how important it is. And through this, I hope we will uncover some of the big questions that we don't have answers to, maybe find a few answers on the way, but more importantly, I really hope that we will discover some of the questions we didn't even know we needed to ask. If we do that, I think we will have truly made a step forward. But before we get started, it is probably worth asking ourselves another question. Is talent management, as we know it, on a burning platform, as the saying goes? Or is doing business as usual? Can we just keep doing what we're doing and what we've been doing? Is that still a viable option? I would suggest that beyond the hype of living in, you've all heard the expression, the VUCA world, there is strong evidence to suggest that we are indeed in the midst of a massive and tectonic shift in this domain. The paradigm that we've built our organizations on and that we manage our talent on today is shifting, the very foundations of it. If nowhere else, I would just like to make reference to one little statistic here. Only 35% of workers today feel engaged in what they do and for the company they work for. 43% feel detached or actually actively disengaged. The remaining 22% feel unsupported. Needless to say, they will soon be part of the 43% that I just mentioned. Gary Hamel, whom you've all heard of, calls this the shame of management. Well, I would like to call it the shame of talent management. Clearly, our organizations today and the way we manage talent as a whole, this supposedly most precious of resources, because everybody touts it as being so important, is far from optimal. Add to this fact, something that Joey Ito says. He's the director of the MIT Media Lab. We have moved from a world of rapid change to a world of constant change. Two little words, and it's not just semantics, that make a huge difference. This implies that we are facing not just a quantitative shift, i.e. doing better, more, faster, being more efficient, but a qualitative shift. That is, we have to do things differently. And as the French say, ça change tout. We must reinvent the way we collaborate, the way we work together. This new reality is fundamentally at odds with the system built for repetition and acceleration, which is what we have today. What is called for now is adaptability and agility. And the system is simply not built for that. In fact, I'd like to, the way I see it as an image, which sometimes helps to get points across, I believe that trying to adapt our existing paradigm and methods of organization and processes to these new imperatives of adaptability and agility is very much like trying to do yoga in a very tight pair of jeans. Neither very comfortable, nor very effective. And, to quote, what was that? If it looks good, then... In fact, to quote Peter Drucker, the greatest danger in times of turbulence is not the turbulence itself. You've all heard this. It is to act with yesterday's logic. And I think we're clearly faced with this necessity today. So today, we would like to start exploring what tomorrow's logic in talent management might be. What are some of the underlying questions and new building blocks of tomorrow's paradigm? And to fuel our exploration, I would like to share with you a few thoughts and questions on the subject. In a world of constant change and increasing uncertainty, which I think is probably verging on unpredictability, does not knowing need to replace expertise as a de facto state of affairs? In fact, does accepting that we do not know, and maybe that we cannot even know, become a cornerstone of adaptability and of a new system? And how does that work? Is this compatible with today's organizations, processes, and job descriptions? Has the time come to stop thinking in terms of jobs and start thinking more in terms of granular roles that can shift from project to project? But if we do that, how do we unbundle the notion of talent, ability, or role from job description and the hierarchy that inevitably goes with a job description? How does a model built on predictability and forecasting, how much time have all of us spent preparing budgets? How does a model built on predictability and forecasting adapt to the increasing complexity and uncertainty and non-linearity of the world we live in? And can the existing model creatively tap into this new breed of innovation that has moved from the center and centralized to the edges of the system as we know it? I hope we will delve into these and many more exciting questions together in an open and creative conversation today and over the next 2 days. Because as you've seen, the 3 days are completely interconnected, which means I expect to see you all tomorrow and the day after, needless to say. To help us along this discussion and to make it as interactive as possible, we have also prepared a platform called Pigeonhole Live, which is for our Q&A sessions. So it's actually a simple interactive mobile app through which you can submit questions. You will also naturally, we do not have anything against real live questions, but it is sometimes interesting while you're listening to a presentation to just type in a question. So if you want to do that, if you have a mobile phone or a computer, go to www.pigeonhole, pigeon as in the bird, pigeon, and hole, all attached, .at. It's an Austrian company. And you have it in the brochure. Yes, you have it in the brochure. And the passcode is 1987. Now you may think that's abstruse. It's actually, we're celebrating the 30th anniversary, so 1987, 2017, there you have it. So definitely feel free to use that and to ask any questions, and then we'll be able to moderate those and either address them in the round table at the end of the day or as we go along through the day. Once again, let me thank you for being here. Let me encourage you not to be complacent, neither toward us, today, and with the questions you ask, nor toward yourselves, to become practitioners of creative disobedience and insatiable questioners. And without further ado, let me introduce you to Laurent Gentilhomme, who will talk to us about human capital value. Laurent has worked in the oil and gas industry all his career. As such, he has traveled all over the world, worked in extreme environments, he'll tell us a little bit more about that, managed very complex projects in multicultural teams, he'll tell us more about that too. He's an engineer by training, and his many years of practice and management have nevertheless led him to value profoundly the human factor that we mentioned earlier. And today he will talk to us about his new quest, because it is a quest, as a doctoral student, and try and quantify and measure human capital value. Please help me in welcoming Laurent. Thank you very much.